Alright guys, how's it going? So, in my last video that I posted, I went over a game right here between um, Paul Keres playing white and Bobby Fischer playing black, and it is a super crazy game. And that game and that video provides some sort of context for what I'm about to launch in right now, which is a game of my own. So, if you haven't seen that last video, go watch that and then come back to this one because this one sort of works off that one and is sort of a continuation per se. So, anyways, in my last video, in the end of the video, I talked about how I got to play the Paul Keres Bobby Fischer game in my own tournament game, and not just any tournament game, in Super Nationals 5 on April 5th, 2013. So, why am I giving exact details now? Because in my last video I said, maybe I should look for that game. And what I did, I looked through my bookshelves. It took me a little bit, but I found my 100 game scorebook, my almost a little sparkly blue scorebook that I guess I had from 2013. I was playing white. I was on board 2,213. Like I said, playing in Super Nationals, and I got to play this game. So we're going to look at this game quickly. I already have it entered in the computer, so I don't need my notation book anymore. I just wanted to show that off. But we're going to look at this game. So I basically, in this game, almost very closely replicate the beginning of this super famous Bobby Fischer Paul Keres game that I had studied a lot. I studied a lot with Coach West before because I was in 5th grade. I was playing for the PS139 Ninjas. So let's get into this game. Like I said, it started off very similar. E4, I'm playing white, of course. C5, knight f3, right? We have our Sicilian. Again, guys, if this is confusing to you, go to that last video. I've already done a lot of the explaining, and we've gone through this game. Knight c3 guarding the e4 pawn. We have a Najdorf. Bishop g5. So I'm playing this how I know Paul Keres played it because I had studied this so well. I knew it pretty well. This is what I was playing at the time. F4, h6. So this was a bit different from the Paul Keres game. In the Paul Keres game, what happens is bishop g5 and just e6 after bishop g5 and bishop e7. My game just slightly different. h6, so I have to adapt, right? You can't play openings robotically even when you have them memorized. I don't want to hang that bishop. Bishop h4, and now we are back on track. Sorry guys, I had a motorcycle going by, cut the video. Anyways, we're back. We are back on track. Queen f3, right? Same position as the Paul Keres Bobby Fischer game. Knight d7 in the game. Bobby Fischer played queen c7 first. It's fine. This game will transpose. Knight d7, castles queenside, queen c7. There we go. The literal exact same position played in the Paul Keres game. I'm not making this up. I promise you. So here I kept playing like Paul Keres. Ooh, let's hide the notation. Bishop e2, guarding my queen. This is the best developing square for this bishop here, I think. b5, bishop takes, knight takes. This is exactly the same as the Paul Keres Bobby Fischer game, except this pawn is on h6, but it's not a big difference. It's not a super important difference. E5, bishop b7, attacking my queen, and I did the super famous Paul Keres sack. I took on f6, hung my queen, bishop takes f3, bishop takes back, and in the Paul Keres Bobby Fischer game, Bobby Fischer here played bishop takes f6 and went on to win the game. After bishop takes f6, bishop takes, and the game went something like this. And Bobby Fischer, being the incredibly skilled player that he was, Paul Keres is also Grandmaster, but Bobby Fischer was able to win this chess game. But in my game, my opponent instead played rook c8, and I played bishop c6, like I discussed in my last video, getting a tempo, checking this king, king f8, pawn takes e7, queen takes e7, rook he1. So I was able to literally play out this whole variation that I had memorized after studying this game for so long in one of my own games. That is so rare, and it is so rare because this game is so interesting, right? Now I have, if you haven't seen the last video, 3 pieces for a queen after that sacrifice. They have an extra pawn, but my activity, as we'll see, because I actually have the game now, is too overwhelming. So I will say, in this game, I think I was 1500, which is a good rating, but it's not, the level that I'm at now. So some of the moves I play, I would most definitely change going forward, okay? So let's look at this game, though. So this was my game. Now we're on my game. I had to play this game from my own here, right? This isn't what happened in the Keres-Fischer game, so I was on my own, which I was fine with. I was happy with my position. So queen a7, trying to get this queen out of any pins, right? And here I played this move a3, right? Not my favorite move, okay? Maybe I was trying, I don't remember exactly. This game was 2013. That's 7 years ago. Pawn b4, maybe I was trying to avoid that to attack my knight. I'm not exactly sure. I think I definitely have better moves in this position. I'm not sure how good of an idea it is, but maybe I could move my bishop out of the way. I could also think about relocating my knight to e4, targeting this d6 square. I just think there's a better use of my time than a3. Maybe g4 and then pushing f5 to open up this f file in the future, targeting e6. There's a lot of ideas here. I don't think a3 is the absolute best one. But anyways, I played a3, g6. Here I did play g4. Maybe trying to get some work in on this king side, mess up the pawn structure a little. King g7, h3. Again, this was another one of my moves. Sometimes when I was playing in the past, when I didn't know exactly what to do, I would play a waiting move, see what my opponent did. Not the best strategy. In this game, it worked, but not what I would do now, obviously. Queen b6. I played bishop f3, right, sort of getting out of the way. I didn't want this rook to get 2 pieces because a rook for 2 pieces is a good trade for my opponent. So I played bishop f3. Pawn b4. I didn't want to move that knight, and I also didn't want to fall into anything opening this b file. So I did indeed play pawn takes b4. After queen takes b4, I set up this discovery right here, and my opponent made the blunder of playing pawn to d5. So take a second, pause that video if you need to. How can I win in, well, not one move, but after I played this move, my opponent resigned the game. All right, so I played knight takes e6, putting this black king in check, attacking this queen. This is a discovered check, not a discovered check, sorry, a discovered attack. My opponent would probably have to take back on e6, and after rook takes b4, I'm just up 2 pieces. My opponent, I'm not even, they're up a pawn, so I have 2 pieces for a pawn. Obviously not good for them. I also just have better activity. This rook is gonna, this rook is gonna come into b7 soon. I'm gonna target this a6 and this e6 pawn. Whatever. We don't really need to go into this. I'm up 2 pieces. My opponent decided to resign. So I promise you, I'm not making this up. Super Nationals 2013. I got to play this game out. This Paul Keres, Bobby Fischer. Queen for 3 pieces sacrifice. It was absolutely crazy. I ran back to my team room. I told Coach West all about it, and we were both absolutely shocked for the whole rest of the tournament that it even happened. But anyways, I just wanted to show you the exact game that happens. I was so happy when I found it. I thought it was super cool, and I may even now start a series looking at some of my own games from when I was in elementary school, because I think that would be interesting to look at as well. But this is the end of this video. If you watched the last one and this one, incredible. If you don't really understand some of this one, you're a little bit confused, especially about this sacrifice, like I said, check out that video. I really just posted it, and it goes more in depth about this. The specifics of the Paul Keres Bobby Fischer game and what actually happened in that game compared to this almost super close replication that I played at Nationals. But that is it for this video. Thank you, everybody, and I will see you next time.